Hello.
Hi.
So, you guys want to see a magic trick?
Yes.
All right, before I do this magic trick, I should let you know I totally stink at magic. So I hope that everyone is patient. Is everyone patient? Okay, great. Because what I'm going to attempt to do is extremely difficult. I'm going to attempt to make water disappear. Ta-da! Okay, no, I'm just kidding. Thank you for that. What I have here is I have 2 cups. I've got cup number 1, and I've got cup number 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour water into cup number 1. All right, so I've got water in cup number 1, and what we're going to do is we're going to play the shell game. Only there aren't 3 of these and they aren't shells, so you can just use your imagination. So I'm going to ask you to follow the water, but I am going to add an element of difficulty. I'm going to turn the cups around. All right, is everybody ready?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, follow the water. Yeah. All right, is the water here or here? Oh, you guys are so smart. There we go, cup number 1. So what I ask you to do now is I ask everyone to concentrate. All right, here we go. Everyone concentrating? Positive? All right, abracadabra, make this water disappear. Dang it. All right, so the water, you said you were patient, right? All right, so the water is now in cup number 2. Cup number 2. So let's follow cup number 2. Are you ready? All right, is the water here or here? Here. All right, very good. Okay, everybody concentrate again. Here we go. Learning is awesome. Make this water disappear. Whoa! Thank you. Thank you. Shazam! All right. How many of you think that you just saw a magic trick? How many of you think maybe you actually saw a science trick? Okay? How many of you just don't know? It's okay not to know because I'm going to tell you I actually did a science trick. Before I came out here in cup number 2, and only cup number 2, I put this super absorbent polymer. It's called sodium polyacrylate. So I'm going to put it here in this clear glass. Oops, too much. Okay, can you guys see it there? Yeah. Okay, so when I poured the water from cup number 1 to cup number 2, just like this, okay, this is what actually happened. Oh, cool, isn't it? It totally never gets old doing that. All right. So sodium polyacrylate is a polymer. It's actually the substance that you find inside of disposable baby diapers. There's really not a day that goes by that polymers aren't a part of your life. They're in disposable baby diapers, they're in styrofoam, they're in plastic, and they're in silly putty. Those are man-made polymers, but there's also naturally occurring polymers like keratin, which is a substance that makes up your hair and fingernails, or chitin, which is a substance that makes up the exoskeletons of insects. Now, I could have come out here and I could have just told you that a polymer is a really large molecule, known as a macromolecule, that's built by linking smaller, similar chemical subunits called monomers. But I thought it was best to get your attention first by showing you a polymer in action. Now, it's pretty easy to get your attention if you're making water disappear, right? Okay, well, see, I'm a visual learner, and I believe that it takes just a spark to ignite interest. Look at those neurons. Just a spark to ignite interest. And the interest is the foundation for deeper learning. And that with a little creativity, you can create that spark of interest. Now, like I said, it's pretty easy when you're making things disappear to kind of get your attention. But what about in other areas? Like say an educational summer camp. Can you get the kids engaged and excited before they even walk through the door? I believe that you can. What I believe you can do is theme it in something fun and familiar. Something fun and familiar. This is my Science of Superheroes camp. And you can tell these kids are seriously excited and engaged about superheroes. So you'd be surprised the amount of deep science learning you can do when you talk about a superhero or a villain's powers. So they spent the week learning about magnetism by talking about Magneto and the principles of flight by talking about Superman. And that's actually just to name a few things that they did. But guess what? They not only learned that information, they retained that information. Because before they even walked through the door, they were already so engaged and excited about superheroes that their brains were like little sponges absorbing the information. Now, I've had a lot of teachers approach me over the years and ask me, do you know any fun, engaging, hands-on ways to teach map reading? And turns out, map reading is actually a national problem. National Geographic did a study, and they uncovered that many young Americans were lacking the very basics in map reading skills. As part of this same study, they took a group of kids, they put them in a room, and they gave them a map, and they said a hurricane was approaching. And their evacuation route was northwest. Well, only 2/3 of the kids could even find northwest on the map. So put that in perspective and think about a child looking at a school's emergency evacuation map and not understanding it, or watching the news and seeing the weatherman put a map up about an approaching storm, but not knowing where you are in relation to that storm. Or let's even drill it down farther. These kind of basic skills, these things that we really take for granted and go, well, God, give them a GPS. I mean, these basic skills are part of the foundation that creates effective future problem solvers. And the world needs more problem solvers. All right, but are kids excited and engaged and fired up about map reading? No. So how do you get them excited about map reading? And here's what I found that you can use. You guys ready? You sure? Yes. Positive? Yes. Mr. Potato Head. What I created is called the Groovy geography game, and I believe it's an idea worth sharing. Here in Alabama, it's part of the state course of study standards that children in 3rd grade learn how to read a map. But I found that it's not just for that age of kids. And it's also not just for a classroom of children either. You can play it one-on-one with your child at home. And it's also not just for the state of Alabama. Any state map will do. So here's how it works. When I get into a classroom, I divide the class up into 4 groups. Each of the groups gets a laminated state map. I laminate the state maps because I let the kids write on the maps with dry erase markers. And if you don't know this about kids, they love to write on things with dry erase markers. So they learn the parts of the map, they learn their directions, and they learn how you locate cities on a map. This is often a child's first introduction to graphing. And if they don't initially understand it, you can either talk to them about or play a game of Battleship with them, and they'll know exactly what you're talking about. So they learn their numbers at the top, letters at the side, and they graph their way into finding the cities. But where does Mr. Potato Head fit in? Mr. Potato Head is the owner-operator of the agricultural toy company. He is a VIP, a very important potato. He has factories all over the state, and he has to get an important shipment of toys to Birmingham, and he needs these kids to help him. But wait, when they get Mr. Potato Head, he doesn't look like this. He looks like this. I know, I need a minute. Can you imagine? So the kids have to help Mr. Potato Head with a pretty significant problem. And what they have to do is they have to utilize their legend to find things along the way to Birmingham. So each group has a different starting city that they have to locate, and then they have to find Mr. Potato Head's parts. Like if they find a railroad crossing, they'll get a nose. If they find a county seat, they'll get an arm. And the object is to get Mr. Potato Head to Birmingham with all of his parts. So what's the end result? The kids are engaged and excited and digging map reading. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So the cool thing about this is they're obviously helping Mr. Potato Head solve a problem, but they are the ones coming up with the solutions. And you can also continually change the parameters of the game to reinforce the knowledge and really test what they've learned. So I believe Temple Grandin said it best in her TED Talk. She said, you've got to show kids interesting stuff. So I feel like you can ignite a spark of interest using creativity. Like if you want to talk about polymers, make water disappear. If you want to talk about science, throw in some superheroes. Or use Mr. Potato Head as an educational tool. But guess what? This is not just something that works with kids. This works with adults too. And I have a couple of examples. I have a friend, and she's a banker, and she's in charge of those really fun and exciting meetings about rules and regulations. I know, doesn't that sound awesome? Perfect way to spend your day. So she discovered that attendees to the meeting weren't really learning the information, so they definitely weren't retaining it. So she completely switched the format, and now she conducts the meetings by playing a game of Jeopardy. And guess what? They're learning those rules and regulations, and they're also retaining them. Sunny Brown wrote a book called The Doodle Revolution. In it, she talks about the power of the doodle. And what she's doing now is corporate training sessions where she teaches people how to deliver the format of their meetings in the form of a doodle. And guess what? It works. So why is it important? Why is using creativity to generate a spark or ignite a spark of interest important? Because creativity can be a powerful weapon in the education arsenal. So why not use it to make learning an adventure? Why not fire up those neurons, generate some creativity, and ignite the spark of interest? Because you just never know. The lesson you're teaching someone might just last them a lifetime. Thank you.